Hello everybody, Peggy here, back again with another video. Today we are looking at twin needles. So, twin needles are these. They are these little guys right there. Now this one I got from, I forget where I got this one. I think this one came with my machine. This one, I've never even opened it yet. This one had to have come with a machine because I would have already opened it and used it. Yeah, so there's this one here too. And they are, let me just double check. They are the same size. I know I have one more kicking around somewhere. I just don't remember where it is, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Anyway, okay. So welcome back, another video. Today we are talking about twin needles. I have got some black fabric. I'm going to put white thread on my machine so that I can babble and talk and babble about how the whole process works. I'll show you from beginning to end how to set up your twin needle, what you can do, what you can't do. I'm not going to actually do what you can't do because you'll break your needle and cause a big mess. But anyway, I'm just over here farting with I just turned my machine on in case you can't tell. Anyway, okay, so we're going to go through how to set all this up, what it's going to look like, so you can see what a twin needle does and doesn't do. These are the same size. I know for a fact I've got one more kicking around. One came with my machine. I think these two both came. This one, the black one, I might have to double check the video later to make sure I'm putting it back. Anyway, twin needles do come in different sizes, so I'm just going to start with that. You can look it up, but you can get ones. I'm not sure if you can get them closer together than this, but you can definitely get ones that are further apart. That's important. So I'm going to go through this. This is a pretty standard narrow twin needle. I'm going to go through using this one. But just so you know, before you ever try to use a twin needle in your machine, double check what your machine can and can't handle. There should be, the newer machines should have some instructions on them, so you'll know exactly what you're getting into, because certain types of twin needles do not fit in certain types of machines. You'll see why when I get over on the machine, but we're gonna go from there. I actually so I'm gonna go get them. I'm gonna go move all this stuff around and get set up over there, get ready to go in the machine. I'm gonna show you how to thread the machine, and basically how to sew with the twin needle. It's not difficult, but there is a process and there's things that you need to know. So as always, I'll be going through the little details that you don't always get to hear you don't get to hear other places. People will just go, here's a twin needle, look at me go. And it's like, you need more information than that before you're going to do it yourself. Okay, so I am going to go get set up. You guys are going to just wait for the scene to cut and cut back, and I'll be back in a couple minutes. Hi again. Okay guys, this isn't going to be the best view that you've ever had, and I'll try to stop and adjust the camera as I go, so you'll see what exactly I'm doing, if I can actually say it right. I'm trying to get some good lighting for you guys. I think I'm about as good as I'm going to get right now. Anyway, okay. I've threaded the machine the machine's turned on. I've threaded the machine normally, and I'm ready to go with my twin needle process. So for starters, you guys ever seen, if you get a machine, you'll have your regular spot where your thread goes, and you'll see one of these. And if you look at the instructions, it'll tell you to put it right there. Right there. Okay. That is for your twin needle. Or there are some processes where you'll want literally two threads going through the same needle. Okay. So first step is thread your machine normally with your white, and then come through and do it all over again with your next color. I've got black fabric, so I'm using white, and I'm using a bright orange. That way, once we're done, you can see exactly what's going on. Now, as you're tucking this second piece of fabric through, you will generally feel some resistance of some kind. And that's it. Just thread your machine normally so that you have both threads coming out the bottom. Now, it's really tempting to twist both threads together and then thread it. Don't do that, because it's going on here, it's going through this together, but when it comes out the other end, it has to split again to go onto the two needles, to go through each needle. Each needle has its own Is it there? Yeah, each needle has its own eye. You have to thread both needles, so when you spread it back out again, you could end up having those twist up and create a knot. It's still a possibility, just so you're aware that is a risk, but it's less of a risk if your thread's not twisting before it goes in. So that's it. I've done this, I've threaded. Now we're gonna turn the machine on, turn the camera off so I can bring it back down, and we'll show you what setting up the twin needle itself looks like. Generally speaking, I would already have switched out my needles, but to the twin needle, but I just want you guys to see the process, and this was just easier for me from a handling the camera perspective. So normally you would take off your single needle, put your twin needle on, and then thread your main thread normally, and then your extra thread like I just did. It's not difficult, I just wanted you to see it. Okay, be right back. Okay guys, pray for me. I have got my camera sitting on a box held up by a couple of rolls of tape because I want you guys to see this dead on. I hope it's helpful. I hope it's going to be helpful. This better be helpful. I'll cry if it's not helpful. Okay. Take your handy dandy. Now, if you are concerned for the safety of your fingertips, then for most machines, it's a very simple release to get the foot off. I don't know if you just saw that. This one has a little release, a little latch, but you just put it up. Foot falls right off. Okay. I'm going to take this off so you guys can see. Normally I like to live dangerously. I can't say it, but I like to live it. Okay. So there's my regular needle here. Let me see if I can get in a little closer. Like I said, pray for me because I'm getting in a little closer. This is awesome. And you can see the needle. All right. And you can not see the twin needle. Come on. There we go. There's the twin needle. Okay. So changing your needle is really simple. I will tell you right now, hang on to the needle because this needle can just go boop straight down that little hole. Some people very strongly like the idea of putting a small slip of fabric or something. If the needle lets go and drops before you can catch it, it will go straight through and you have to open all this stuff up. You have to take off the bottom plate in order to get back into the machine and get the needle. Okay. So, and I'm going to do that. I'm just going to get a little piece of paper. I'm going to put a little piece of paper here today because I want you guys to see this. So I'm hoping to accomplish several things today because some people just want to see how to do a needle, right? So loosen that off. Generally speaking, I just pinch lightly down at the bottom with my 2 fingers. Loosen that off until you're confident that you can just take the needle and wiggle it out. That's fine. That's done. That needle is out. Now we're putting the twin needle in. Now just so you know, if you haven't seen a sewing needle before, up close and personal, they have a flat side. That's the flat side, and the rest is just all around, right? So when you're putting your needle in, the flat side always goes to the back. Now, if you've got a strange machine, and it's possible, I mean, there's dozens of brands out there. If you're trying to put this in with a flat spot to the back, it's not going, then it is possible that your machine may have the flat spot off to one side or the other. But I've never seen a machine where it's not, the flat spot goes to the back. That is so that you're going to line your needle up properly, get it in there properly. Okay, so the little tiny hole is just up here. And again, you can do this with your thread still in it. You don't have to completely take the thread off the machine. But if you are new or concerned or just not comfortable, then yeah, take the foot off, take the thread out, do whatever. So you start with your stuff at the back, and then you just wiggle. And don't be afraid if it takes you a few tries. There's only one hole down here at the bottom. And once you get it lined up with the hole, you push it up as high as you can go. And okay, I'm going to be awkward because I'm like I said, I'm trying to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Push it up as high as you can go. Turn the screw until it's finger tight. While you're turning the screw, you will feel the needle shifting a little bit, but as long as it stays as high up. If you feel like the needle has shifted down while you're doing it, just loosen it up and do it again. Sometimes yeah, see, my fingernail just shifted because I'm trying to do this all slick and show you guys, and my fingernail shifted. So once you get it finger tight, this is once you get it finger tight, you will want to come in with your screwdriver. The set screw for your needle has a screwdriver slot. You will want to tighten this a little bit tighter than finger tight. Like everything else, they say, oh, tighten it, and it's go, oh, a little tiny tick. You don't want to reef it on like you're putting on lug nuts on your car, but you do want to put it on a little bit tight because the vibration and just the, these can shake loose. I've been in the middle of sewing, something on my needle is just falling out. So if it happens, if it does happen, don't panic. Just put your needle back in and tighten it and do whatever you need to do. But anyway, that's a tidbit for later. Okay, so I've left this particular machine, the bobbin thread sticks up when you're done putting it on. So I've just left it there so we can all see what's what. Now I'm not quite ready to do my twin needle. Okay, a lot of machines, and mine is one of them. So I'm going to grab my camera and we're going to go for a tour of the machine. Let's see if I can do this right. No, I needed to flip around. Ooh. So this machine this machine does not have extra lights. I got to provide my own. Okay. This machine has a button right there for twin needle. Always check and see if your machine has a button for twin needle. Yeah, the lighting's bad. I'm using as much lighting as I can, but as the lighting shifts around, the ability of the camera to pick up the light really changes. Let's see. There we go. See, that's better, but I'm not holding, I look very, very strange here, holding my camera in one hand, my lighting in the other. Anyway, so go there and don't cause a problem. So that light is now on because, let's go up here. Okay, it doesn't show it up here, but I've got all these stitches to pick from. Let's see. I've got all these stitches to pick from on my machine. A lot of these stitches will not work with twin needle. So the reason why you're turning that button on is because if I were to pick that one, come on, focus. Oh, I'm holding the camera too close. This is entirely user error. If I pick this one here, because it runs up against the edges the way it does, if I try to do that on a twin needle, the twin needle is going to go right off the edge and my needles will break. I already happen to know this, so I don't think mine are marked for twin. Some machines, when you look up, some machines that have these, most machines have some sort of a guide that will show you what it can do, right? So some machines are marked with a twin needle symbol so that you already know up front, because you don't want to go through the hassle of getting everything set up just to find out that the stitch you were hoping to use isn't available in a twin needle. Now I'm trying to remember. I don't have the manual for this machine anymore. I'm trying to remember, but as far as I'm aware, this particular machine has the twin needle designs listed right in the manual, so you can look it up. You can look it up. So anyway, I can also not get too close to the machine. So I'm going to put this back onto a regular. I'm going to put this back where it all belongs now because it's a two-handed job. I will be right back, and I will continue babbling, and we will be ready to also begin sewing. Be right back. Okay, guys, I'm pretty sure I'm set up the way I want to be set up. Okay, so for twin needle, make sure the foot that you're using is the widest one. Make sure it's hooked up. I already know up front that this is just as wide. This is I've only got like 2 widths of foot, and this is the wider foot, so I'm fine that way. Foot goes down. Okay, if you have a needle threader, you can't use it. So just don't even. Whether or not you are threading, I should have finished threading the machine when I had it really super close up, but I didn't. Okay, foot goes up. You are going to thread this just like normal, but you are threading it by hand. You don't get to use your needle threader. And don't think you cannot even try to use it on just one side, because all the stuff that's connected with the needle threader just isn't going to go. So get your needle started. Get into here, because I didn't grab it when I had the chance. Grab a set of tweezers. I use tweezers because it's just really simpler. And pull that one through, the first needle. Doesn't matter. There's no rule as to which thread has to go through which needle. And if there is, then somebody please correct me. But the biggest thing is just don't twist your thread and then to have them. Don't twist your threads so that you can do them first in the beginning. Anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm just getting a fresh end, okay? So that if you have a fresh end, it's got less of those little teeny tiny threadlets on them that just, yeah, I suck at needle threading to begin with. So there it goes. And this is why I just grab the tweezers, because for me personally, it's a little easier. Okay, twin needle is threaded. Both needles are threaded. And so it's really simple. I'm going to fold this in half just because it's easier. Now, I had a couple of ideas in mind that I could have done something with my, I never end up using the twin needles because they're just, I don't need them for what I do, and I just never think of anything that's going to work. So I'm just going to I'm going to do a straight stitch. Straight stitch is obvious, okay? Your needle cut will cut the same way. If you have a thread cutter, sorry, your needle cut. If you have a thread cutter, it'll work the same way because a thread cutter works by lifting the needles and then cutting. But because it is cutting 2 instead of 1, just go slow when you take it off, just on the off chance that it snags up. So there is. Now these lights are bugging me and I can't tell if I'm got good. I'm going to turn the camera just a bit. I can't tell. There we go. I wasn't able to tell if the camera was focusing well or not, and it seems to be trying to fight me a little bit. Okay, so there you go. There's your 2 threads in the front, okay? So that part's fine. On the back, what you get is a tight zigzag. You will always have a tight zigzag on the back. There is no other way because you're only using 1 bobbin. There's no second bobbin to hook up or anything like that. That's not how these work. So whatever you're getting on the top will not be matched on the bottom. Just so you know. Like if you're doing, so yeah, so you got to make sure your top is your top. Like there's some stuff you can do where it doesn't matter where you're sewing it from the front or the back because everything will show up the same. This is not the case. Tight zigzag in the back. Again, just to repeat, all 3 threads are incorporated. You can see them. This is why I wanted to use 2 different colors. So let's back up. Okay, so I've got the twin needle button, which means that if I pick a design that is not compatible with the twin needle button, it won't let me do it. And what is and isn't compatible is going to vary with your machine. There are some machines that will only let you straight stitch. Now, you can throw on your twin needle and do it anyway, but it's at your own risk. Now, there's other machines, and my Singer Simple is one of those machines where I can just put on the twin needle and go, because you can put a twin needle on anything. You can put a twin needle on any machine. This machine has some built-in protection. That's all I was trying to get at, and I just went the long way around. Okay, I just had to throw away a whole chunk of stuff because I was trying to explain a thing, and it turns out that this particular machine has no problem doing it. So it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Okay. When you're setting up your twin needle, you have to watch out for your foot. You can get twin needles that are wider than this. This is actually a fairly narrow one. So what you have to make sure that you're doing is if you're going to pick a design, let me pick something simple. Why am I trying so hard? Okay, let's pick a design. I'm trying to think of one that's going to be, that'll be easy to see. Okay. Now, when you're picking a design, what you have to watch out for is that you have to make sure you have the correct foot on, and I actually don't, so I have to be aware of that. I have to make sure that when I'm sewing down, I have to make sure that my needle isn't going to hit the edge here, right? The edge of the foot. Because if it does, it's just going to snap the needles. It's just going to break the needle. Like, see this guy here? Maybe I'll get it. Let's see if I can find a metal one that's doing it. Nope, that one's wide enough. Yeah, okay. See this foot here? See that foot there? It's a round circle. If I try to put a twin needle on this, and it looks like it will barely fit. Just by looking at it, I think it will barely fit for a straight stitch. If I have this foot on and try to do a decorative stitch where the needles are going to the side, the first thing that's going to happen is that one of the needles is going to hit the side and it's going to break. So when you're using your twin needles, it is incredibly important to make sure that you've got the right foot on. I don't have the right foot on right now because I just pretty much use this foot for everything. If I were doing some quilting and still had this foot on and then tossed on my twin needle and tried to do a fancy stitch, I would immediately break the twin needle. I would. There's no way around it, right? So be careful on that. If you're only using your twin needle for straight stitching, you have less to worry about because you don't have to go, oh, I'm going to start with my stitch and hope that I don't hit the side. So side to side stitching, zigzag stitching, decorative stitching. I'm going to do a decorative stitch and we'll see what happens now. What you can do to get started is do your first two. I'm down here at the end with my hand. You can barely see me here, but I'm down here at the end, just moving this forward manually. There we go. I've got the farthest stitch to the left just happened because I knew that was going to happen fairly soon. Okay, I didn't hit the side, so I can stitch. I will say with a twin needle, always test on scrap fabric before you start. Not because of problems, but like I said, if it turns out that you have the wrong foot on, if you end up not liking the design, you've got twice as much to pick out, and you'll see this in a second. Also remember, okay, your sewing machine runs on a foot pedal. Foot pedal, think of it like a gas pedal. Just because you can floor it doesn't mean you should, okay? Always keep that in mind. Well, I actually kind of like that. Okay, so that is my decorative stitch right there. And you can see with the, my problem is that I try to get it up close so I can see it myself in that little itty bitty monitor. I need to get a monitor because of some kind because I'm trying to hold it up so that I can see it in that little itty bitty preview monitor that comes on the camera, and I'm not seeing it myself. Anyway, so what I'm seeing here is me making a big mess. So both stitches are here. The orange is the one thread, the white is the other thread. So if you're doing a decorative stitch, I've now taken a basic design. I've now taken what for me is a basic design. Let's see. I've taken what for me is a basic design. Come on. I cannot tell if it's, sorry guys, I can't tell. I'm going to keep talking anyway though, because that's what I do. Okay. So this is what the twin stitch looks like on the front. So now the design has been duplicated, and because of the design that I picked, it's now actually turned it into a different design. And on the back, it's a mess. Okay, keep that in mind. You've only got one bobbin, so the bobbin has to, it's the exact same zigzag as this, only it's a bigger zigzag, obviously, because it's trying to catch up wider stitches. So when you're using this, you do have to keep in mind that you cannot sew from the back and have it look good on the front. So, and you also, there's certain things that you just simply aren't going to want to sew, especially if it's things where the back will be seen way too easily. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. That's what it does. Let me try something. Let me see if I can grab something a little bit more. That's a good one. And again, now, I already knew how wide that other stitch was, so now I know that I've got a foot on that's wide enough that your first bit of testing is to A, see if you actually like the design duplicated, and B, see if the needles are going to go to the side. There, that looks a little cooler. That last one looks a little cooler, right? So you can do it in the same color, you can do it in different colors. And again, now the back on this one, this last one, because it was a simpler design, that stitch, that stitching doesn't look so bad. So this is another reason for testing first. Another reason for testing is you need to make sure that the backing, like I said, sometimes it's going to be a mess, and that's just the cost of doing business. You're just not going to use that design on. You're going to use that design on areas where it's not going to be seen and where it's not going to matter. You can use this design. You can use this one where it's just a straight lines. You can use that anywhere because a slight zigzag in the back mean nobody's going to care. This one kind of actually looks cool, so you may want to save that one. Yeah, it looks kind of okay. So you may want to save that one for areas where they will see the back And it kind of looks a bit like a design all by itself. Okay, anyway. So yeah, the bottom one makes it really clear. You can see how both needles are working independently. The design's not crisscrossing over itself. So, and again, another reason to test this design here, the middle one here, it does cross over back and forth over itself. Which means that if you don't like it, if you're trying it, I don't need to test it. I'm just going to go right on that, whatever. If you don't like it, the more a thread crisscrosses over itself, the more difficult it is to get out. I'm just going to sit here and play with my focus for a while. Oh, that's good enough. We're back there. Okay. That's threading. That's putting your needle on. That's sewing. That's testing for your width. That is, if your machine has a twin needle button, use it. If your machine has one, use it, because there are certain designs that you cannot do on a twin needle because the needles just the way that the machine's set up, it just won't work properly. And I do not know why. I think my machine adjusts something on the inside. Like I think it will just keep you from using certain stitch lengths, but certain designs are going to be locked out, and that's just the end of it. Okay, so you're done with your twin needle, and you want to take everything off. Now, a lot of people just grab their thread, yank it backwards through the machine. Most people will tell you not to do that. I know how to clean my machine myself. And I've got a very light touch, so if I feel something snagging, I'll just stop. When you're taking off your twin needle, though, you've got two threads coming out, and pulling one backwards could cause the other one to slide backwards and create a knot. So when you're taking your twin needle out, let's go back and do the big view. There we go. So you're taking your twin needle out, leave the bottom alone, just come in here and I know it's a waste of thread, and I know that's important for some people not to waste a lot of thread, but when you're doing your twin needle, just cut them from the top, lift your foot so that everything's loose, and then just draw them out together at the same time and dispose of it that way. A lot of people already say that that's the way you should take your thread off anyway, and I know a lot of people don't. I don't. But with the twin needle, you really, really should, because you're pulling up, you've got to, like, this has got like 6 points of contact before I can thread the needle. It's got to drag backwards through all 6 of those. If I'm pulling one, you can pull them both back at the same time, but it's just a lot easier for you. It's a lot easier on your machine. And again, I am that person. Yeah, and this usually, for most machines, this is removable. If I push this on hard enough, it won't come off. So I try not to, because I don't need it. Okay. I think I've covered the obvious on twin needles. I'm not going to do a project using twin needles just because I can't think of anything that requires twin needles, because I'm just that lazy. So I'm not going to worry too hard about that. Like, honestly, if I had a good home for these twin needles, I'd probably have gotten rid of them a while ago. Not because I don't like them. I mean, I think I bought one of them for myself. I just can't remember which one. I think I may have a third one kicking around, because I know the one came with my machine. The Janome. One came with the Janome. Anyway, taking them off, just unscrew it. If it's time to change a needle, this is a good time. So, if you're going to change a needle with the foot on, by the way, either drop your foot down so that it's out of your way, which is usually the best, or just be careful putting your needle on so that you're not bending it again, so that you're not shoving it past everything and then giving it a bend. Oops. Tighten that little set screw, finger tight, barely finger tight, and then get in there with your little screwdriver and finish tightening it. Okay, that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions or need more information about twin needles, I did mess around with them when I first got them, so I'm not as much of a newbie as I think I am with these, but I haven't used them in a long time. Oh, I know what happened to my first twin needle. I did break it. I broke it. What did I do? I forget what I did. These can break just as easily as a regular needle. As a matter of fact, because they're on a plastic casing that's not metal, they can be more apt to bend and warp at this point. I would not use this for putting together. I would not use these. I wouldn't go 4, 8. Oh, I've got 8 layers here. I can sew them all together with my twin needle. I wouldn't do that. I don't know how prone. No, I did break one, but they can be more prone to breaking because of how they connect. It's a single heavy shaft. Oops, I'm way off the camera. It's a single heavy shaft connected to 2 thinner needles. So I would really only use it for 1 or 2 layers of decorative stitching and leave it at that. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't try to use them as a shortcut to doing. That's why I broke it. I was trying to use it as a shortcut to doing something with something. I don't know I can't remember what I was doing, but oh, I think I know what I was doing. Nope, that's not what I was doing. I don't know what I was doing. I was hoping to use them as a shortcut to get 2 layers of stitching into something or other that was way more heavy duty than this could handle. These do not handle heavy duty stitching very well at all. They're almost entirely decorative. And you can see that when you get in closer. See how narrow? I put my needle away. Let's get another needle out. Let's get another needle out. Oh my God, I was just tidying up today. You have no idea how many freaking sewing needles I have. I have way too many. Okay. So that's how they look. That's the twin needle here. And this just seems to be a little sturdier, a little thicker. And because it's a solid metal all the way down, it can still break, obviously. Sewing machine needles break all the time, but because this is connected to plastic, I believe mine did break at the plastic. I just remembered now that's why I couldn't find it. So now I got to figure out, now I got to try to remember what the heck I was doing. But yeah, these are great. These are fun. These are good. They're fun. They're fun to play with, but they definitely light duty. Definitely not big heavy. Not big heavy things of fabric. Like I don't think I would even stitch back over this just because it'd get too thick. But anyway, I'm off to the. Oh, I was on camera. Okay, that's it. That's twin needles. Yeah, like, comment, ring the bell, do all the things. You all know that. If you like what you see, yeah, give me a subscription there so that I can grow this into. I want to see how big I can get this channel. I want to take over the world, like Pinky and the Brain. Anyway, twin needles are fun. I don't necessarily use them much, but that doesn't mean that they're a waste, because they're not. They're fun. Anyway, that's that. You guys have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will be back later with another video. Yeah, like, subscribe, hit the bell. You guys know what to do. I will see you again in the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me. That's it on twin needles. I'm not an expert, but I have had a chance to play with them. That's my experience. That's what I think of them. Keep it to the light duty stuff and you'll be fine. And I hope I hope this was helpful information that will help you guys in your sewing endeavors in the future. And until then, bye.